Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Friday to you all. I hope you guys had a great day. Obviously, Bitcoin kind of fell down a little bit today. Why? Well, Trump posted 50% tariffs on the EU, possibly. That sent the markets down, Bitcoin down as well, and miners were down as well because of that. Could have been somebody whispering in Trump's ear saying, hey, simmer it down a little bit on the crypto thing, and maybe we can buy some more at a reasonable price. Maybe, I don't know, but you never know. But we have that to talk about. We got a bunch of good news stories as well. On that, we're also going to take a look at how much Blackrock has been buying here in the last 13 days or so of Bitcoin. It is outrageous, and we'll talk about it. Then we'll get into Q&A as always, and then that's it. Should be a pretty quick and easy show tonight. I'm tired. I've been working outside all day doing mulch, so I'm beat. So I'm going to try to get through this relatively quickly here, guys, for you. And plus, it's Friday. You guys want to spend the time with your loved ones and enjoy the weekend. But as always, not financial advice for Tim and only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. If you guys would be so kind, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin today. Bitcoin did drop down, obviously, quite a bit. It wasn't too bad. We needed a little bit of pullback, too. I think we were down 3.93%. We closed at 107,329. And we hit a high of 111,824 and 7 cents. We got it down to a low of 106,800 roughly. So we needed a little bit of pullback. We had a nice run up here, right, in the last couple of days. I mean, we went up, basically from, let's just say from here all the way up to here. We were up almost 9% almost roughly. So a little pullback is okay, right? Trump obviously came out with his tweet on the EU and 50% tariffs possibly. And then he also came out on Apple as well that, he's thinking about doing 25% tariffs on iPhones and everything else because he wants them to be manufactured in the United States. Right. It is what it is. I'm not going to get into it. I'm tired as it is already. But miners were down also. Bitfarms was down 3.67% today. Wasn't too bad. Kind of in line with what Bitcoin did. BitDeer was down 4.11%. Cypher was down 2.8%. Cleanspark was down 5.17%. It did come down to 100-day simple moving average, bounced off of that a little bit, so that was good. CORZ was down 1.39. Same thing with that one, coming down to the 100 simple day moving average. Hive was down 2.49. Hut 8 was down 2.52. IREN was down just a little bit, 1.72%. That one did the best. No, actually, CORZ did a little bit better. IREN was down just 1.72% on the day. Mara was down 5.88%. That was quite a bit there. Riot was down 4.36%, and Wolf was down 3.61%. MicroStrategy was down double what Bitcoin was down, almost down 7.5%. On a Galaxy was down almost 7% as well. Those guys have had a huge run up here. This one is MetaPlanet was down quite a bit, 24% today, with Bitcoin coming down, but that thing has had a huge run up here. And then what's the other one that we had a big run up on? This one here. The blockchain group also was down just a little bit today, 2.6%, but it's had a nice run up here as well on it. Small miners were down for the most part except for DigiPower. DigiPower was up 12% on a day after having a wild day yesterday. Other miners were down. ETFs for Bitcoin miners were down as well. A couple percentage points, nothing major there on that. So let's get into how is Bitcoin doing so far in the month of May, and it's doing pretty good still. We're up 13.73% on the month of May right now. We were down a little bit from where we were. We were higher, obviously. We were closer to like 16, 17% yesterday, but we came down, right? A little correction there, not a big deal. It held up pretty good, actually, all things considered. So that's still looking pretty good here. We're still up 29% on the Q2 here for Bitcoin. Bitcoin ETF inflows from the ETFs, basically. We saw a huge inflow yesterday from Blackrock. It bought $877 million worth of Bitcoin there. That's a lot. They've been buying more and more here as time progresses. We'll see if they bought or sold actually today. We have a couple of ones that are in the red here that have sold out, but we'll see if Blackrock also sold out at this point or if they continue to buy in there. At least the clients for Blackrock, if they continue to buy onto the dip here. We'll see that probably on Monday's release or something like that. Okay, so let's get into the good news stories that we do have here. We do have quite a few of these here. This is just in. Trump is making digital assets a priority. We are going big on digital assets, says Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. So, right, like I said, could Trump have done the tariff thing just to kind of put a pause in Bitcoin's price appreciation? Maybe, maybe not. But I think one way or another, we needed a little bit of pullback, make it a little healthy healthier rally here. Next here, billionaire Kevin O'Leary says Bitcoin is about to explode with trillions of dollars coming soon. It's happening, right? I'm not going to get into this video here, but yeah, all of these signals are pointing to Bitcoin going up much higher. Where you have just a temporary little blip in that. Let's see which one. Here it is. Oh, yeah, and here's a Trump tweet about the European Union and possibly doing a 50% tariff on them. He's recommending a straight 50% tariff on them. Yeah, right. Their monetary. Some of his grievances are trade barriers, VAT taxes, ridiculous corporate penalties, non-monetary trade barriers, monetary manipulations, unfair and unjustified lawsuit against American companies, and more have led to a trade deficit that he calls $250 million a year. And so he's recommending 50% tariffs. Now he's recommending, he didn't put that in, that they're going to be there, but that definitely sent the markets down. So it is what it is. That's the only bad story that we have there. And then boomers are the fastest growing demographic of Bitcoin investors in Australia. So boomers have a lot of capital, a lot of money invested in things like that. They have a lot of money that they can put into Bitcoin. So that's kind of surprising that boomers are starting to turn their ways into Bitcoin. But it's also nice to see that. They're getting educated on it, it looks like, and moving forward with this as well. So that's the good news there for Bitcoin. And then this one is Bitwise and UTXO predicts nation states and institutions to own 4.269 million Bitcoin worth 426.9 billion. Institutions are coming. Potential institutional Bitcoin adoption by end of 2026. And it sounds like my son just got home because my dog's going crazy happy right now. You guys can probably hear that upstairs. Sorry about that. But here's what you got. We got category, current key players, estimated inflows, estimated BTC allocation, nation states. United States, El Salvador, Bhutan, estimated inflows 161.7 billion. Right, that is 1.6 million Bitcoins, roughly 7.7%. Wealth management platforms, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, 120 billion, 1.2 million Bitcoins. Public companies, Strategy, Metaplanet, and others, 117.8 billion, right? 1.178 million of Bitcoins there. United States, Texas, Arizona, New Hampshire, 19.6 billion. That's going to be 196,000 Bitcoin. And then sovereign wealth funds, Abu Dhabi, Norway, 7.8 billion, 78,000 total, 4.269 million Bitcoin there for 426.9 billion. And that's just the ones listed here. That doesn't probably include even more that's happening here that we got. So this is great news here. And that's what I keep talking about. Adoption. It just keeps happening where Bitcoin's being adopted more and more as time progresses, and that's going to lead to the price going up. There's only so much Bitcoin that's being generated each day, right? There's only 450 Bitcoin per day. We're going to take a look at Blackrock, how much they've been buying in the last 13 days here in a second. And it is actually quite staggering. Also, El Salvador bought more Bitcoin today to add to their strategic reserve. I mean, they just continue to buy into it. They have, what do they have now? 6,186 Bitcoin. Regardless where the price is at, they're buying into Bitcoin, right? They're not the only ones. There's other countries that are doing it as well, and other companies as well that are doing it, which I think is the next story that we have here. Nope, this is something different, but SEC is considering approving Bitcoin index options trading on the NASDAQ. More adoption, more ways to get into Bitcoin and things like that. All bullish things for us. Next here is publicly traded, the Smarter Web company bought 23.09 Bitcoin for 1.85 million pounds for its treasury, right? Another company is buying it. Smaller amounts, yes, but they're buying it. What does that do? Anytime a company buys it, whether it's from the OTC or on exchanges, it takes that Bitcoin out of there and it puts it into a cold storage, and it makes it the supply of Bitcoin on exchanges and on OTC much, much smaller, driving the price up much higher for us here. So love seeing that. And then we got just in Similar Scientific just bought another 455 Bitcoin for 50 million. It now holds 4,264 Bitcoin worth 460 million. Similar is like a smaller version, much smaller version of Strategy there, right? Another company that just continues to buy into this stuff. So we're seeing these types of news stories every single day here. And that's great to see. We want to see the adoption happen. At least I want to see the adoption happen. I'm sure you guys want to see it as well, because the end result is going to be Bitcoin price going up much higher for us, which is what we're here all for. Okay, so there's the great news stories that we do have here. I told you guys it's going to be a pretty short and sweet show tonight. Like I said, I'm quite beat. But here's what we got as far as Blackrock buying. So I took the information from the far side investors information here from their table. And what I did here, I put in the Bitcoin price on those dates where it closed basically. So we're kind of close to that right there. This is the amount that they've been buying in millions over here, right? This is for Blackrock. And this is the amount that they could have bought on those days here based on how much they basically purchased, right? BTC rewards for each day. This is how much Bitcoin is being inflow of Bitcoin each day, 450 Bitcoin roughly, more or less, give or take a little bit. And then this is what represents how much, the difference of how much Blackrock has actually bought into Bitcoin, right? So here we got 12 times the daily BTC rewards. So if you take out the 450, you're looking at like 11 times more than what Bitcoin rewards were, right? So you got 12 there on one day, almost one here as well, 1.49. You got 7.69 times. You got 1.5, you got 5, 8.78 times, 2.79 times, 6.4 times, 5.98 times, 10.75 times, 17.46 times. On average, if you average it out, it comes out to be about 6.3 times more that BlackRock alone is buying in the last 13 days than what is being provided into the ecosystem for Bitcoin, right? The Bitcoin rewards each day, which are being rewarded to the miners. That's the amount that's being added to the supply. So the demand for it is 6 times greater than the supply is currently. What's it going to happen? And this is just for BlackRock. Remember, this does not account for Semler buying. It does not account for strategy buying. It does not account for El Salvador buying, all these other companies that are buying it as well. It doesn't account for any of that. Even investors, hedge funds, all that stuff does not account for any of this stuff. And that's already 6 times the amount of supply. So what is that going to end up? It's going to end up driving the price of Bitcoin much, much higher here. So that's why I stated, it's kind of unbelievable how much demand there is for it. And eventually the OTC desks, the exchanges, we're seeing it already as it is. They're drying up on the Bitcoin supply side of things, which is going to drive the Bitcoin price much higher. So today's little blip that we saw being down almost 4% on Bitcoin, nothing to fear. This is just market being market with, fearful tweets from Trump and everything, but it's going to play out much better here, or it's not going to be an easy ride all the way up to the top. We're going to have these kind of bumpy rides along the way, but we should be going up much higher. And, people are still calling for like 200,000 by the end of the year, if not higher. Some are calling even for like 400 some odd thousand by the end of the year, which is just crazy. I think that might be a little too high and a little too fast. Would I love to see it? Absolutely here. But I just wanted to point this out to you guys, just how much demand there is just from a single entity in the Bitcoin space, not accounting for anything else. So take that into consideration. As I keep saying, hodl Bitcoin as much as you can, buy into it if you can, and then only sell it if you absolutely need to for, food and shelter and things like that. If you're on hard times, then that is definitely, fine. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I didn't have any time to do any other metrics from the miners or anything like that. Like I said, I was out basically all day out in the yard, and I still have a lot more mulch to spread out. I got 6 yards in. I think I got maybe 1.5 yards. I had to clean out my beds and everything else, flower beds, to get it ready for the mulch. So it was a good day working outside. It was kind of nice to kind of get away from everything else. It was a good way to clear my head. I love working outside. I love working with my hands as well, along with doing this kind of data stuff and things like that. But definitely enjoy being outside. It was nice to get out, clear your head a little bit as well. So highly recommend you guys do the same thing. Go for a walk, do something outside over the weekend, especially if it's going to be nice up where you guys are at. All right, that's it. The spreadsheet's going to be available to Patreon members. I'll probably put this in for you guys as well. I'll leave it in this time, and I'll probably delete this out next time. But this will be in there for you guys, so you guys can see that as well. All right, let's get into Q&A, and let's call it a night, call it a weekend. We do have Memorial Day on Monday, so we won't have any trading on the miners that day. I'll probably do something on Sunday. May not do anything on Monday, depending unless we get some massive story or something like that, or Bitcoin's pumping really good. Maybe we'll do something on that. But yeah, that's it. So let's get into Q&A. Get the show on the road here. See what you guys have to say. If anything, as always, if you guys could preface the question with a question mark, I would appreciate it. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Mark says, if I were you, I would stop with these new thumbnails. It look cheap. I liked your old-fashioned ones more. I'm trying to think if I still have the old-fashioned ones that I could do. I'll have to think about it, right? It's still me. It's just trying to do a little bit better job at maybe getting attention from people that are not loyal viewers, I guess you could say. Let's see what else we got here. Mark says, I haven't made any money from this market. In fact, I have lost a lot of people who got into proxies early or sell shovels at gold mines, made the money. I don't know about you guys. Yeah, depending when you got in, Mark, that's always going to be tough, right? If you got in at a higher price on these guys, you're going to have to be possibly a little bit more patient for them to bounce back up. If you got in and were able to dollar cost average in as well, you possibly might be still in the green. I'm in the green. The only one that I'm in the red now is Bitfarms. But like I've said before, I've sold 2/3 of that while I was in the green, and I'm just waiting for that one to come back up. All right. Joe asked, what's up with Mara and the miners? Well, Bitcoin was down today, so that's the reason for that. Yes, Mara has not been performing as well as we thought, along with the other miners as well. As far as price appreciation for those guys, they have been beaten down more so this year than Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was down like 30% from the start of the year to where it bottomed out, while the miners were down like 60, 70% plus. So they took a double on the chin there. They will, I think, eventually run. It's just a matter of when. The miners are still, Mara is heavily shorted, so is Cleanspark there. Eventually, I think the shorts will switch, but I just don't know exactly when that's going to happen. I think we saw a little bit of that happening this week, but not much. I'd like to see more of that. Sean's got a question here. I really like Riot, and I'm patient. I have a very large position. Do you think it could hit mid-teens or 20s in a few months, or is that pushing it? Thanks. From where it's at right now, let me see, where's Riot really quick? I can't remember where all these guys are at in stock price. 855. Yeah, listen, I think, here's my thoughts. If Bitcoin goes to 200,000, they should, at the very minimum, do a 2x, right? So if Bitcoin gets to 200,000, I think it can get to like $16, $17, if not higher, to like $20 plus. But we definitely need them to do much better on the operation side of things. We know that their hash rate is not going to be growing, but they do have HPCI potential. Maybe they get a customer there. That would pump them up even beyond that, I think. So I'll be patient. Guy asked what's going on with Cleanspark. Same thing with like Mara and Riot and everybody else. They have been doing pretty well here recently from the bottom that they had, but they, like I said, they've been beaten down, 2 times of what Bitcoin's been beaten down in the last 4 or 5 months or so. See, Yellow Gambler says, Seb, my head is clear, just like yours. Started losing my hair in my 30s. Well, you were later than I was. I was in my mid to, I would say, late 20s is when I started losing it. Got lucky with the gene lottery, I guess you could say. All right, Michael says, Bernstein analysts reaffirmed their market perform rating and 30 price target for Pfizer Inc. on May 20th, following the company's recently disclosed $6 billion license deal. Okay. So that's on Pfizer. Let's see. Guy says, I have a feeling miners will either crash or blow on Tuesday, but Cleanspark disappointed. Yeah, I mean, Cleanspark's been down a little bit here. We're not too, I say be patient. I think we're going to do okay. We're still early on in this, right? As long as Bitcoin goes up. If Bitcoin doesn't go up, then this might be it. But I still strongly believe that Bitcoin's going to go up. Yeah. SW says, Cleanspark and Riot hitting resistance at 200 daily. Yeah, I've been seeing that as well. Mara is the other one that's also hitting resistance there. So once they get past that, I think they will do much better. And be patient. Exactly. Nothing better I could say there. Love and Gaming X says, love you, Seb. Love you guys as well. It looks like we're all caught up with the questions here. Got one coming in from Gap Filler. Let's see how long it's going to take for it to pop up in my screen here to put it up. All right, here's a question from Gap. Do you think we have to wait until next quarter report for the revaluation of the BTC holdings fair value with BTC 120, 130? Cleanspark would have an EPS of like $3 per share compared to, yeah. I don't think we have to wait for it. I think a lot of people already talk about the miners, right? I'm doing it. There's others, Anthony. There's others as well that do it. And there's also analysts that cover the miners as well. They know how to calculate what's going on there with them as well. I don't think we're going to have to wait for it. I think we just need Bitcoin to go up. That's the main thing here. And like I said in last night's stream, right? The hard part for these miners here recently, this cycle has been that when Bitcoin corrects, it's correcting for a much longer period of time, right? For 3 to 5 months, something like that. And it goes down 30%. Last cycle, Bitcoin corrected in a couple of days. It wasn't that of an impact on the miners as we're seeing now over an extended period of time, where the miners are then just languishing and going down much further. So I think we just need Bitcoin to have a consistent run up without these 3 to 5 month pauses of it going down or sideways. So we'll see if that changes here going forward here a little bit, as we're seeing a lot more adoption as well. But we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, I think that's it. I don't see any other questions here popping up here. We're going to call it a night. Like I said, I'm tired. I'm going to enjoy my Friday night, probably watch a movie. There's a movie that I want to see. It's on Apple TV. It's, what's it called? Final Youth. Saw the previews for it. I think it's out today. So I'm going to go watch that with the family, enjoy it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And as always, thank you so much for coming in. I will see you guys on Sunday. We'll do something on Sunday as well. Maybe not on Monday, but we'll talk about it on Sunday's show at that point. All right. Love you all. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys Sunday. Until then, bye.